And just taking some breaths there. So, feeling into this body as a whole, these are the base instructions. I recite them every sitting. Feeling into the sense of the body as a whole, we stabilize the mind, inviting it to the body with a brief body scan. We make contact, drawing the breath and the attention down, down where we make contact with the stable earth. We feel the reality, the sensations, the aliveness of the feet, the legs, and the hips. Bringing the attention to this stable, steady part of the body with each out breath. And please be generous with yourself here. There is no rushing or having to get to some place, some quality of mind or body. You're just resting in whatever is present in this lower part of the body right now, letting it be. Can you actually feel the stability of the lower body? And then gathering the attention at the base of the spine. And with the in breaths, we inspire, awaken, invite alert attention as we breathe up the spine and out the crown of the head. Now bringing the attention along with the in breath. Seeing how you are right now. And then with the next few out breaths, we're going to begin at the top of the head and just come gently down like a fine honey oozing over the front of the body, just checking in with each out breath, no rush, checking into the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the nose, the mouth, and the jaw. Remember, this body has so much to tell us about the qualities and state of our hearts and minds. Relaxing the face, letting the face be well. coming into the throat, just checking in here. And then down into the shoulders, the chest, the breasts, the heart, feeling the rise and fall of the breath. And seeing if we can let go of rushing the breath, breathing a certain way, trying to architect the breath in some way, letting the breath breathe. And then opening to the whole of the breathscape, the top of the chest, all the way down to the lower abdomen, just opening to this area. This is the whole breath body. And if you didn't do any other practice each day but this one, my promise to you is that it would be of benefit to inviting that our whole hearted, whole bodied, whole mind, Buddha nature, just this practice right here. If you don't have time for anything else, this is enough. The mind is already stable, more steady. The body is more still. We've released the body from needs for excitement, stimulation, activity, energy. And now we're just finding a place to rest the attention and see what happens for you as you breathe into that whole breath scape. Where does it feel like there's a place to rest? And as we begin to rest, we remember that we practice not only for ourselves, but for all beings. And so, with diligence, with energy, with commitment, and with patience, we draw ourselves into the body, into the breath, with just this one breath. Finding deeper and deeper connection to the breath. Maybe initially we touch into the beginning of the breath and the end of the breath. And then we notice the rise of the breath and the fall of the breath. no matter the quality of mind, no matter the sensations in the body as best we can, this is an unconditional response. This is an unconditional connection happening between your mind, your body, and your heart. And you are showing up for it all, whatever is here, each in breath and each out breath. And in this initial phase of the shamatha practice, this calm abiding, we begin to notice perfectly the mind in its habit, wandering to thoughts about the day, wandering to thoughts about the breath, thoughts about the meditation, the meditator, what's going on, what happened last night, or right, the mind begins, um, or let me not say begins, it continues its moving, except that now we can notice. The mind, our own awareness mind, is stable enough to begin to pick up these habitual patterns of mind. And there's nothing to do with them. We're not going to change them. We're not going to be harsh. We're not going to judge the thoughts or ourselves. We simply abide, knowing the in breath as the in breath and breathing it in. And then knowing the out breath as the out breath. Breathing in. And there's even thoughts about what's the point? I don't get it. What's happening with the breath? But remember, there is an essential human heart mind training happening unconditionally with friendliness, opening to what is arising on the in breath and the out. And because change is the one permanence, you'll notice different like this, same like this, short and long, harsh thought, friendly thought, thoughts about the day, thoughts about the self. This is the cultivation of insight that just begins to happen naturally. You're not supposed to record these, you're not writing them down. You're just letting them ooze into each cell, each muscle, all the way to the marrow. Each breath. We notice tensions or tightness in the body. This is awareness, and we can make a choice. We can release, soften, notice, let be. Stable mind, still body. Unconditionally friendly is also the training. We recognize, we allow, we open and get a bit friendly. Oh, throbbing left Achilles, noticing. And rather than a moment of reactivity, I simply invite contact, a friendliness. And if it seems right, I'm so inclined, I can move a little closer. I don't lose contact with the breath. It's a type of toggle: breath, breath, ankle, breath. And we just stay in contact as best we can, making the breath the primary object, even when the Achilles is talking, noticing. Back to the breath. And then with this stability of mind, we can begin a little inquiry. This is the path factor kind of inquiry to see where are we right now? Where's the work? Where are we engaged, embodied in the path factors? So we just begin to open once again beyond the breath itself. We're going to move from single object attention to just resting in the body, mind as a whole, a larger lens as we invite the inquiry. What path factors might be operating at work or not at work right now. We're just going to invite that inquiry. What is most alive is another way to think of that right now. Some people use a phrase, what's up for me right now? And we're going to review the guiding questions and just see what you notice as we do this brief inventory. We begin always in the path factors with right view. What perspectives might be operating or not operating right now that might be impacting my thoughts, words, and deeds? Remember, right view, complete, wholehearted view. Can I see a grasping or clinging, recognizing a certain kind of wanting or hunger or seeking quality to mind? Am I resting in the present moment? Can I see where cause and effect might be occurring, where if I have a judgmental thought, it fairly quickly results in a agitated, distressed mind or body? That would be a good example. And in the recognition, can I smile, recognize its benefit, just the recognizing alone, the view right now, and begin again? Can I see qualities of mind that might be operating? I just had a thought, and I noticed that the thought fairly almost immediately elevated my heart rate by, probably a beat or two, nothing too significant, but I caught it, which was, boy, I hope I remember these path factors. And I'm smiling at that because I think this is a part of what we all bring. This, am I going to do what I'm supposed to do? Is it going to be right enough? And if it isn't, what will it say or mean about me? And the recognition of that now allows for its liberation. I can just let that go. I'm smiling still about that. What if I don't remember them all? It's fine. We don't practice them all at once, usually anyway. So, right view, beginning with that first noble path factor. How am I holding myself, the world, relationships? What qualities of mind are present here? Self making view or view of engaging all, self and others? Lots of inquiry there, just seeing what you think. How's it affecting how you're sitting here, how you're feeling? And from right view, we go to right intention. And the intention is a little bit with the inquiry, uh, how will I choose to act? hold the situation, um, recognize what's needed now, uh, and that we set the lens towards our actions being of benefit, being a contribution towards kindness, honoring the vows, the goals, the commitments, the values that we have established for ourselves. Where am I with that? And engaging, recognizing the reality of shared intention here as we engage in this practice. What is your intention? Mine always comes with a little bit of can I be completely honest? Can I bring some humility to the inquiry without having to architect up an ego or false self? Can I just recognize that thought? What if I forget this? And you can sense that it allows us something, doesn't it? It allows a kind of humanness, a kind of generosity of heart, of compassion, kindness, without architecting the I've got to do X. Too much eyeing wears us out first thing in the morning. And so that feels relieving, liberating by itself. And from right view and right intention, we move into an area of action, right speech, right action, right livelihood. And these three are how we live. Right speech. Can I be practicing right speech right now with what I offer myself? Can I reflect on a moment of um, speech that became harmful, divisive, or uh, did not generate the result that you had wished? And all of our results, our wishes are for connection, kindness, care, well being. That's our true nature. And I said something last night. I'm just reflecting on, I said to my husband, anyway, and I said it like that, recognizing almost immediately that rather than inspire getting back on a topic that someone was talking about, it was diminishing and sounded critical, which was actually not my intention. But like, wow, you have to really pay attention to how much air comes out of the mouth with the words. And can I now be compassionate, both for my partner and myself? And we can also ask in right speech, how am I listening? Am I able to take in the genuine intentions of others? Um, can I allow the mind body to resonate with what they are communicating about? Just some of the inquiries in right speech. And then going, of course, moving to right action. Am I acting in the interest of benefit for myself and others? Or are my actions creating potential? for distress, for harm. Just maybe doing a little scan of that inventory. And of course, right action affects oneself, one's own mind, one's own, not just others. Is this towards the benefit or is this towards some level of harm or distress? It's a really good question to ask as we breathe. And then we can expand the view of right action to include work, um, committed efforts, exchanges of um, effort for money, and its impact, and its impact on ourselves, on our world, planet, on our society. And of course, we've talked about livelihoods that lead consistently to harm, production of weapons and toxicants, pesticides, things like that, and their potential poisons, I think is how they're referred to. And those things that we contribute to with time, money, resources, energy, efforts that lead to balance, harmony, synchronicity, well being. Right livelihood, and to be watchful of the money exchange. I think it's bigger. It might be more like an effort that we consistently invest in, um, and its result. Work included. And then we move into the inner factors, the right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi, right concentration. And these are little bit qualities of mind, right effort, a little bit like abandoning those things that are harmful and propagating, finding ways to reinforce or cultivate things that are useful, like our meditation practice itself. Right effort. Can I commit myself to practices every day? Am I intentioned? Can I bring energy? Am I cultivating wholesome qualities of heart mind? Resulting in our right mindfulness, right, that we see clearly, reflecting on moments maybe this morning of right mindfulness, seeing clearly with kindness, with compassion, with wisdom. And whatever else we're recognizing, can we see the changing nature of all phenomena? Whatever it is we wanted to hold or keep or secure, it just becomes suffering. Can we bring awareness to the body, awareness to the mind, to qualities of heart, loving kindness, compassion? And can we sense the um, immediacy, the urgency of our awakening right now and right now? And as we drop in again and again to the present moment, we notice there's a gathering, a collecting, a concentrating of mind. And we can rest in the refuge of that vast awareness. Seeing if we can cultivate that clear seeing, unconditional friendliness, and begin by offering, generously offering our own attention to ourselves. Can we investigate the path factors without recrimination, without self loathing, self denigrating? Can we see without demands for being otherwise? And then we rest back. Let's come back to the breath, to the body, letting go of thoughts, seeing if we can make contact with our own truest nature, the wish for happiness, for ease, for well being, for ourselves. You are worthy. Yes. And for all beings. And may this practice be a benefit And may it be so this very day. Taking a moment and just stretching it out a little bit. I'm going to see if I can find my way to, I think, chapter 12, which was basically crafting a whole life path, chapter 12, and really seeing um, where your work is and where your skills are, and calling those elements to mind as a way um, of knowing how we are, and knowing uh, with mindfulness, with that compassion, where the work is, where we are, and bringing those to mind in some, um, I would say, simple way each day. I think that's probably a little more helpful than making it more complicated than we need. I'm going to just check in and see if anybody had any particular awareness, anything that really came to mind, like, wow, that really is hitting me. Right speech almost always is something I make contact with, not because I practice it well, um, but because I notice when I do. And I also notice when I don't. um, it's pretty important for me. I think it's one because I do it so much. I suppose I want to try to be as mindful as I can. Um, However, what I will also say is that right speech cannot occur without clarity of right view, and then setting the intention again and again to speak without harm, to speak with kindness, to speak with truth, to speak wholeheartedly, to speak courageously, to even say a truth when it is not um, easy, um, and will not be well received or is difficult to hear. So that's one I work on pretty, um, notice, I would say, pretty often. Uh, and I'll offer a second. I have too often probably given myself a little bit of a buy on right livelihood, both as a therapist and a meditation teacher. You can lean over there a little bit too much. Like, I got that one locked up. Not really. Uh, nope. How is that so? Well, we can commit harm in all instances, no matter what the livelihood. You don't get to just go, well, because um, that gets me out of thinking about it. And I reflected recently on a moment as a young therapist where um, I said something really quite divisive uh, to someone in my workplace. And it had a reverberating effect that was also quite harmful. Um, and there I was, this newly committed therapist who was intending to devote myself to the good. But then I fell asleep um, for a moment in something I said, and it had consequences. It was also likely necessary, beneficial to see how one side statement could reverberate in a not wholesome, skillful way. So again, these kinds of reflections, I think, are very valuable to us. I'm going to pull up the book here. Let's see if I can get it. Here we go. Share the screen with you. There's only a couple things, I think. I liked some of Gregory's the inquiries. And the first statement I thought was one of his best, which is remembering that the Eightfold Path is already operating in your life, that it's happening right here, right now, even when you can't make contact, even when you can't remember, even when what's that path factor? I can't even remember the name. This is not really the point. The point is that you recognize that there is the Buddha nature in you, always available, always present, sometimes shrouded, it is true, by habits of mind, by fears, by pain, by history, by trauma, and by reactivity, but that one breath, it is always here. And that we keep this in mind so that we don't get overwhelmed by, this is going to take a lifetime and never really work out. That's not actually true. Already operating in your life. I love that. And that it's happening each moment, each breath, each thought, he says, each encounter as a part of the path. And that we can drop in any moment. He also suggests finding a starting place. He had some ideas about that. I think there are a couple basic ways. One is to set a particular path factor like right speech and focus on it for some amount of time. That would be one way. Another way is to really open to the whole path every day and see which ones are really reverberating, resonating with you. I do both, actually. During the things, of course, I was focusing on that particular path. Now I'm doing a little more of just opening to, what's really here, what's active, what's dusty, what's dead or asleep, what's numb. And I see if I can't really regulate, invite, or balance that in any way. So first, the calling it to mind, that's a little bit useful. Just recollecting the path factors is useful. And then the second part for me, and I always do this because I'm too sloppy and lazy otherwise, is I pick a particular thought, action, speech, behavior, something to support that intention. So right speech, I'm going to say thank you more. I'm going to listen more. I'm going to offer positive affirmations to others more. I'm going to say the truth really in the friendliest way, but the clearest way possible. So I review generally, find something that I think is up, worthy of the work, real, happening for me, resonating, and then commit a behavior. Committing the behavior for a day is good. Committing the behavior with intention for a week is better. And I think Gregory says something like, maybe work with it for a whole month. I think that's a large intention and lots of life keeps happening. So that may or may not be right for you. But I do think that the commitment is right, the intention around it is right, and actualizing it, operationalizing it is also good. And I think that's what he was saying here a lot. Present moment inquiry allows us to begin consciously steering through the stream rather than let it steer you or sweep you up. Isn't it true? That's our mindfulness practice. That's its point. How are we doing in the waters of life? Am I living in alignment with my values? Does my life reflect this wisdom? Life is a big word for me here, like my whole life. Wow, that's big. I think it's okay to say, how am I doing right now? Like just right now. Right now, am I in right speech? Well, I'm doing okay, I think, probably right now. How am I doing with right view? Am I recognizing the truth that the teachings are necessary and valuable for myself and others? Yes, I think that's good. Um, am I listening well? Well, not so much, right, based on our circumstance. And so just dropping in right now, I think these big life questions, I think, are also useful, but I think often we do better in a day by day, moment by moment assessment. I think it offers that over time. What path factors are operating, which are dusty dead, it's asleep. I don't ever think about those. Um, and to begin that review. Uh, what is my view now? Here he goes. This is good news. Am I seeing things as permanent? Do I recognize the changing nature of the mind body? Am I opening to that? What are my intentions now in relationship to that? What's my motivation behind those awarenesses? These are all good reflections. Am I mindful now? He speaks to that recruiting everyday moments into the wisdom factors. How am I doing with those? Meal times. He sees relationships, of course, as being real opportunities. Every relationship, every interaction, not only with others, of course, but with yourself, have so much to tell us because we do them so habitually. We are so often asleep in our interactions, both in the self talk and the self relationship we have, as well as with others. It is an incredible practice ground for seeing clearly how we're doing and what's going on. The point of all of this, I think, uh, maybe to summarize this a little bit, is that if your practice is only impacting your life in its moments on the cushion, then we are not truly living the teachings as they have been offered. Um, if we get calm, that's of course good news. But is it enough um, as a representation of the teachings and the Dhamma? And the answer is, of course, it isn't. Um, this is not said with judgments and criticism, but too often we can engage in a practice, check the box, I think, and go back to sleep. And I think it's these teachings and practices are greater to say, how am I living right now? And how can I balance that consistent with the truth of my aspirations, intentions, and goodness? He says we can begin slowly, of course, by expanding certain skills, certain qualities of heart mind to begin including another, just one other. I think it's beautiful practice just to say, okay, today I'm going to make this contact, I'm going to have this interaction, and I'm simply going to be practicing this deep listening, just letting my mother know that I love her, making sure that my friend is feeling less distressed today than over the weekend, that we can cultivate view by calling others to mind and then deciding how we can make offers. Gentle, they don't, right? Not big things, not 3 carat diamond kind of things. Well, but maybe they are actually. Maybe they really are 10 carat diamond things. Just that kindness, just that care. Yeah, after all. Um, that we also look at this letting go of one's own uh, self cherishing, that to get to the relationship and go, how am I operating in it, includes the other, and that it isn't just about how am I? How am I presenting? How am I looking? How do others see me? Um, that this really is a moment, limited moment. Um, doesn't mean we don't get to consider ourselves as well, but really we get stuck, I think, often in the imaging, um, rather than the being. And the inquiry into how am I being is the path. Uh, the dropping into how am I looking, how am I being perceived, how am I coming off is possibly, we have to be careful, more about uh, self, not just a self cherishing. And it's just a fine line sometimes. So just noticing, watching for that inquiry, I think is good. He reflects on intoxicants, um, poisons, both not only of those things we ingest from externally, but those things we're ingesting regularly from our own heart mind. That complaint, that criticism, that ongoing thought that leads to disconnects and separation, that these are all intoxicants and poisons in their way and are worthy of reflection. I think the rest is pretty, I think, in line with what we've been saying. I think we're probably pretty good. I think what he also says near the end here, I'm going to come out of share. I think what he says that's also relevant is that there are moments of discomfort on the path, that we often mistake the path for being something that should be pleasant or enjoyable. Um, I don't think it's true. I think most, I would say, of the path has led for me to certain moments of discomfort, because I'm changing a habit or a habit nature, or at least reflecting on it. So I think we all have to be a little careful about this idea of the path being perfect. It's just what it is. It is the path. I think we have to be watchful of it being pleasant. I think we can make some critical mistakes there. And I think we have to be watchful of this idea of the path being personal. And by personal, I mean something about the me, the I, without considering the infinite causes and conditions that lead to both right actions as well as lead to um, unskillful, harming, painful actions. If we get this, then really not personal, this is what I mean, then I understand another's anger as well as understanding my own. Then I understand another's falling into negativity, criticisms, judgment, divisive speech, um, having a separating view rather than a interconnecting one, uh, flagging on my own intentions. Um, then I understand and can be compassionate, kind, equanimous, and a contribution, right? Then I can be all that. Just this moment, just this day, And it becomes, for me, just an amazing, absolutely blessed life. And so um, I think we'll let go of our, in terms of its weekly review, the Noble Eightfold Path now. I did know several people wouldn't be able to be here, which is why I was so glad we're recording. Others do watch this and also gain benefit. So I'm just going to check in, see if there's anything anyone else has to offer before we sign off today. I know we've got just a few people left. Anything specific to this path, its factors, or the teachings that are important for you? I'm going to take a sip of my gifted iced coffee here. While we look, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, everyone. I think we're good then. I will put this on the website. Well, I won't. Leslie will. Thank you, Leslie. That is not me. I do not have that skill. Leslie has done this for us for a long while now, and we are all very grateful to her for that. So please have a beautiful day. Live this as best you can. See which path factor is really most up for you right now. And what are your decisions about it? That's always a beautiful inquiry. I will be in the garden this Saturday. We will be practicing live and only live this Saturday, waiting again till July 16th. So if you can make it to the garden this Saturday at 7:30, I would encourage you to do so. We won't be live in person again. We will be live in person again until July 16th. Lots of traveling for people. Please take good care of yourselves because the COVID is out there. People are getting it, and I'm so grateful for the vaccines because people have not gotten really ill. It's really good news. All right, everyone. Blessings to you all. May we all be well. Have a great day. I'll look forward to seeing you this Saturday. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.